Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is the Walking Dead Deluxe number 9. Now, this came out a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get it to the comic shop, so it's a little bit behind, a little bit late than I normally would like to do it. But whatever, that means we're going to get 2 issues kind of back-to-back in reviews. So number 10 will also be out relatively soon. But let's talk about 9 before we get to 10, because, 9 before 10. Really easy that way. So this is written by Robert Kirkman, art by Charlie Adler, colored by Dave McCaig, lettering by Rus Wooton. Now the question is, what is the deluxe version of The Walking Dead? Now the Walking Dead Deluxe version is the original Walking Dead, except colorized. Dave McCaig has come in and colored the series. So far been really kind of interesting to check out. And there's a little bit of bonus of Robert Kirkman kind of putting in some notes, talking, and he actually throws in his literal notes from creating the series. That's in the back, and then he kind of writes up a little bit about his thoughts and what he remembers of the issue and things he might have done different. So lots of cool, small little things for Walking Dead fans that they can learn about the series. So let's talk about this one particular issue 9. Issue 9 is interesting. It's they're in the Wiltshire estates, and we find out in the back in Kirkman's notes it was supposed to be the Wilshire estates. So kind of both exist. And this is where they first kind of sort of getting settled, and then that was a whole bunch of bad, a lot of dead involved there. What's interesting is that we get another character off. I think the series what was interesting is, and even Kirkman admits on this one, he telegraphs it a little bit too much, and there was we're 9 issues in, and it feels like you're almost like offing a character an issue, which. At some point, you kind of got to make it a little bit surprising, because at this point, it's not. This one is really bad choreographed and foreshadowed. What's also interesting is you're getting a lot more character interaction as they get settled in their surroundings until all hell breaks loose. So, that I think is kind of fascinating. We keep on seeing the main point of the series is it's not the scares, it's not the zombies, it is the interaction of the characters and their thoughts of how do you create a society. There's a really really interesting segment talking about with a child coming in the future. This is a kid that's going to grow in this world that doesn't know anything different. And honestly, I've kind of been thinking about that a lot. It's been interesting, and I've talked about it in past videos of going back and rereading this in a COVID era. Before horror comics, zombie comics, they've done a lot of commentary about the world. Some of it's about consumerism, some of it's about the specter of communism. It's been really interesting parables about other topics, sci-fi does that a lot, and horror does that a lot as well. So it's been interesting. When this first came out, we were in very, I think, uneasy times. You had war and terror going on, you had iffy economic situation. It fit. It really, really fit, and I think matched the unease going on. With this, now you got to think about COVID, rereading this, because while that stuff still exists, it's not the primary thing, issue anymore. We're actually thinking of real pandemic, like a real outbreak. And it's not a secret on this channel that I have a daughter. She's 2.5, and I'm thinking about her growing up in a COVID world. She was born just before all hell breaking loose, and she really. She's not going to remember, she's not going to know the world before that. She's going to know the world after that. So things like masks is something that will probably be very common for her going forward. I'm one who's a bit more on the negative side of COVID and doesn't think that things will be normal anytime soon. If we're lucky. And, I can't help but think, how is she going to experience that world? A world where travel isn't as easy, where touching people is not quite as not quite as a good thing to do, being close to someone. So it's I can relate to this issue a lot. That scene I think really hit me. We also have a major event happening with Coral. It's about Coral. I don't want to ruin it for those who haven't seen it, but this issue packs in a lot. There's a lot going on. Is it like a great issue? It's what I would call many times the bridge issue. Is it takes you from point A and gets you to point C. This is point B. You have to get there, but at the same time, it's not really like, it doesn't quite stand on its own. It's really buttressed by either side. The whole point is to get you somewhere else, and it's not bad at all as part of like a trade or anything. Usually those issues are really key, but on its own, it's kind of a little floppy. But overall, like it's a solid issue. It continues the series. I think it's really fascinating to go back and read, especially with today's situation. The notes by Kirkman, I think, are really fascinating. It's always interesting to see what he has to say going back and re-examining the series that he created, and he seems to be really honest about stuff, just straight out putting like, I don't remember what the hell I was putting in these notes. I think that's really funny when he does that, and there's small little nuggets of trivia in there I think is really cool, and he admits when he would do something different now that he's grown and learned as a writer. So I think that's really, it's to me very fascinating to see something like that. Overall, like if you are a fan of Walking Dead, I think things like that are really cool. The color, it adds a lot. It's a very different read, I think, for when it comes to that. Like, I'm still not quite sure how I feel about the colorization aspect of it. It doesn't quite have the scary aspect to it. I'm going to be really interested in seeing how it goes on the more the gore hits. I think that's going to be where it's going to be fascinating to see the series as a whole. But, as I said, like if this is your first time reading, like go for it. This is a great time to hop on and check out the series. If you're a longtime fan, well worth checking out just because, it's a fantastic series. Is a fantastic series. And I think rereading it in this new situation is really interesting, and it's got the cool extras. So, I don't think you're going to be able to get that anywhere else, I believe is what they said. Out now in comic shops, you can go get it. We got a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. It'll tell the shops near you. No shop, no problem. We do have affiliate links. There are affiliate links, so we get a small percentage of that. By doing that, you help support our site, so thank you. If you're into comics, if you're into Walking Dead, Skybound, Image, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.